This is Kugan Cassius for IFLTV. We are in Belfast here. It's weighing day. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Andy Lee. How are you, mate, first of all?
Good, thank you. How are you?
All good, all good. We're nearly there. Obviously, the boys are weighing later on. I found out, obviously, a stat that you all know, that two Irishmen have never fought for a world title, which is crazy. Yeah. It's a mad stat, that.
Yeah. It's great that it's finally happening, you know. But, you know, that just shows you how rare Irish world titles are. And for Irish fighters to reach this level, you know, it's wonderful occasion for Ireland, a celebration, and whoever wins, Ireland's going to have a new world champion.
Absolutely. Give me a scenario in your career where it could have been close. Obviously, you beat Korobov to win the world title, but at that point there wasn't really anyone who was Irish that was in contention for you to defend, or was there?
There was Macklin.
Oh, Macklin was still there.
Macklin, Duddy was retired. Macklin was still boxing, I believe. Yeah, maybe he was, but it was never on the cards.
He's from Birmingham, though, isn't he?
He's Irish.
He's Irish. He's definitely yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't really a situation that ever. But it's mad. It's a mad stat, isn't it? And the fact that actually two Irishmen are fighting in Ireland as well, it tops it off. It's going to be a great night on Saturday.
And it's, you know, the welterweight championship of the world held by Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns. You know, the greats of the greats have been welterweight champions. Floyd Mayweather, Roberto Duran, the list goes on and on and on and on. These guys will be joining those ranks. So it's hopefully my guy will be joining those ranks, and I believe he will.
My mind's going blank here. Who was the last? Let's take out Katie Taylor for a moment. Who was the last male Irish world champion?
Anthony Cacace.
Cacace, obviously, yes.
IBF.
And before Cacace?
I'm blanking now as well. Before Cacace, there wasn't Burnett, maybe Burnett. I'm sure there was one. TJ Donaghy.
Donaghy, yeah. There's been a few then over the last few years.
There's been quite a few IBF champions when you think about Frampton, Burnett, Cacace, Donaghy, Taylor. So yeah, there's been a few. There's been a few. It's long. This country's synonymous with boxing, isn't it? You know. If they weren't from here, they had They had roots to here, back to Jack Dempsey, John L. Sullivan, and you know Gene Tunney. The whole lot of them had some Irish connection. So it's time now we're getting a new Irish champion.
Steve Collins,
the legend Steve Collins, two-time super middleweight champion.
Apologies to Anso Cacace there. My mind just drew a blank there, but steeped in history with champions over kind of maybe not as frequent as you guys would like, but enough to kind of, you've listed off a load of names there in the last kind of 7-8 years. Yeah,
but they've been rare, but that's the way it should be. You know, there's very few can become world champion, very, very few, and like less than, I'm sure, I don't know what the percentage is of total boxers in the world, but it's got to be like 1% of, maybe less than 1% of boxers who actually go on to become world champions. Everyone sets out with a dream. Somewhere along the line, they get sidetracked, or they don't have the ability. But so it is rare, and you gotta. It's all hard work, talent, hard work that may get you there.
Absolutely. Well, I think the only current English world champion is Nick Ball, and we've gone from, I suppose, a few years ago. I think we had over 10 at one point. And then it's now down to obviously just Nick Ball. I always notice this though. When we're down to one, we start going, between England and Ireland. And
yeah. But I think it's a reflection of boxing now, how it is a global sport. And the influx of the Saudi Arabia and Turkey al-Sheikh bringing the best fighters from all over the world and fighting each other. And Matchroom being global as well, you know that it's fighters from all over the world. So, you know, I'm not sure. I think Australia probably only have Jaya Pataya. New Zealand don't have a world champion, you know, and each country, you look around, the titles are dispersed, you know. Even America, historically, would have been dominant, but now even them, you know, they probably have a champion in each division, I'm not sure, but not as dominant as it used to be.
Well, the heavyweight division is owned by Ukraine at the moment, so we'll see how the next few months, we'll come on to that in a bit. But yeah, look, this kind of fight, and I was talking to someone about it, who was it yesterday, I can't remember, but I said some fights like this turn out to be how big they are because of a controversy, and there was, obviously, that's the main reason why this fight is happening on Saturday. But what's been your kind of instruction to Paddy to kind of, not saying that's not going to happen again or anything like that, not that same situation, but just to kind of, to keep cool?
It's you know, the first fight, after it happened, I could see this scenario playing out, you know, and that's why in the dressing room I wasn't as downcast as him. I wasn't even upset about it. I just thought, I was so pleased with how Paddy performed, first and foremost, and I could see that this would be the way to go. There would be a rematch, because it was, you put you in the mind of Froch and Groves the first fight, you know. I could see the way it was going to play out, and the second fight would be even bigger, and Paddy got a lot of moral support. He got the public kind of won the public's affection because of how maybe unfairly he was treated. But listen, he did lose control at the end, and people fight, like, as I've always said, like their personalities, and there is that little bit of the little bit of craziness in him, you know, and I think you need that as well. But he did lose control at the end, and now my instruction is to be professional, be ruthless, and take your chance when it comes.
Yeah, again, I made reference to the Froch Groves fight. Wasn't meant to be as big as it was, kind of over the two fights. It was a big fight when it happened, but obviously it was magnified by how the fight ended with that controversial stoppage. So sometimes these moments kind of lead into these things. It's happening again this weekend, but yeah, you're obviously very confident that you can put on a clinical display and to leave no kind of stone unturned or anyone doubting the result come Saturday.
Yes, and I am very confident, but you have to be careful not to be too confident. And even for Paddy not to walk into this fight thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. He's worked extremely harder than he ever has. So in that sense, to me, he's earned the right to win the fight. He's done the work. We had a great sparring with David Avanesian, and the spars, you know, I had to be careful with the spars because they were like wars. They were better than most fights, you'd say. So I had to be careful with the amount of we sparred David. But Sean Murray also helped us with sparring, so shout out to him. But Paddy has just gone to a whole new level, a whole different level. And when I look at Paddy now in the ring, shadow boxing, warming up on the pads and on the bags and sparring, I see a world champion. I see he has that thing. And as I said, how rare it is, how few there are at the start of this interview. He is one in the making. He's got to go out there now Saturday and do it. I said, you've won the fight, you've trained hard enough, you've earned the right to win this fight. You just have to do it now.
Eddie Hearn made reference to a very lively crowd we're going to expect to see at Windsor Park this Saturday. It's quite mad there's not been a fight since Frampton fought Luke Jackson. It's crazy that's also a stat as well. How's he going to deal with what Eddie Hearn kind of said as a pro-Crocker crowd? Yeah,
you know, walking around the city here, a lot of support for Paddy. Now, whether they are in the arena or as vocal as the Crocker fans, we'll see, but I think it won't be as bad as the first fight because it's going to be open air and it's going to be more spread out and dispersed, and the noise will go up to the sky instead of being in that cauldron of the SSE. There was no escaping it. But Paddy's always been a guy who loves that. He loves that, you know. I would have been maybe a little bit in my career, a bit, you know, big crowds, you know, a little bit overawed, or not overawed, but just a little, not intimidated. But there's a different word I'm trying to find. But But Paddy just, when I've seen him, I never have any fear. You saw how he handled the first one, and you can imagine how he's grown and learned from that. And he'll be expecting it anyway.
Well, just over 24 hours and we're going to find out. Just want to kind of cap back to Tuesday, the official launch press conference for a bit of a surprise fight announced between Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley. Great fight, 25th of October. Obviously you were here with Paddy. But talk to me about how these talks came about, because obviously everyone's kind of making light of the facts of, did Parker really need to take this fight? Could he have sat it out and waited for the Usyk situation to, whether he fights Usyk or fights for a vacant belt, etc. But I'm assuming you're going to tell me that Joseph's got a fight, so why not Fabio?
There's sitting around and waiting. Now listen, you can have a fight and lose, or you could have a fight and win, and you could have a poor performance and your stock goes down. I guess Joe's stock couldn't be any higher at the moment because he's off 3 of the biggest wins of anybody, Wilder, Zhang and Bakole, and he knocked Bakole out. And maybe he could sit and wait, but there's nothing to gain by waiting, because inactivity will kill a fighter. Joe needs to be fighting. Those great results came with activity, especially the Wilder and the Zhang one. So he fought Zhang in March of 23. Then of 24. Then he had the long wait to get Dubois. He pulled out. Then he had 2 rounds with Bakole. So it's 2 rounds in over a year. So he needs to fight. And there was no big talks. Joe was very frustrated. We were both very frustrated. Couldn't get a fight. We went to Saudi Arabia. I think Joe was at his wit's end. I think Joe was going to as I said to you, he's going to go nuclear in the media. I don't know what he was going to do, but he was very frustrated. Frank Warren said, let's meet in the morning of the Ituma fight against White. We met, he said, there's 2 options for you. You can fight Dubois or you can fight Wardley. And Joe didn't want to give Dubois a chance because he feels Dubois screwed him. And Wardley had accepted the fight at that stage. So we just said, yeah, let's go for it. And it was done. It was done there and then, a handshake.
I was going to ask you about that, because obviously, as I was being told, that there were some previous talks about Joseph potentially fighting Daniel Dubois. Are you saying that there was an option there to possibly fight Dubois, but Joe didn't want to entertain it because of the situation that happened in Saudi back in February?
Yeah, Joe said he doesn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it, and I think another factor was that the Dubois wouldn't have been ready till December, and Joe wanted to fight. And listen, Wardley coming off a great win, he's a champion. He's got an interim champion belt, so that's a better fight, and it's a more exciting fight for people to watch. 2 good personalities, 2 good fighters. People love them. People get behind them. They got great support, so it's a good fight.
Just give us an insight to someone like Fabio Wardley, this was more prominent, obviously, in the Justice Huni fight, where he was kind of, not biasly, but he was clearly behind in the fight by quite a bit, but he's able to produce a moment like that in the last round when it was very unexpected. How much of a threat is that when you're trying to train someone for... I think the majority of people we speak to saying that Parker outboxes Fabio Wardley, but how do you train for something like that where that could potentially happen?
It's about concentration and being switched on in every second, and that's something that we've worked on for years with Joe, and something that's been that's one of the reasons he's been successful over the last couple of years, because he's been able to do that, and especially when you've been in with punches like Wilder and Zhang, and Bakole to an extent. But with Huni, I don't look at that fight and take that as an example of Wardley. I've watched him a long time. I commentate on so many of his fights, even back to Nathan Gorman, and he always finds a way to win, one way or another. Where he's getting beat out, like Gorman was giving him a good time, and he got him out of there. And he always finds a way to win, Fabio. So you got to respect him. And I've had those victories myself, those come from behind victories, in my career, So what happens with that is that you always believe in it. You've got a chance. I've had it with Jackson, Karabov, Quillen. You're down on points, but you find a way to win or find a way to come back and with Quillen on a draw. But so you always give yourself a chance. The only problem with that is, and I learned this from my experience, there will come a time when you won't land that shot, or you'll bank on that shot too much. You rely on your power too much, and it doesn't come, or it gets you in trouble. That's all I'll say.
Just took me back to that Jackson fight, actually. The best punch of your career?
I had some good ones. I liked the Carl Daniels was a great knockout. There were some good ones that are not even on video, I don't know how many, there's a good few knockouts.
Jackson one was special, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Jackson, because Madison Square Garden, and I think it's in HD, it looks like it was only filmed yesterday, whereas the other ones are grainy old films.
What is, you talk about Quillen now, like, I remember when I started filming, Kid Chocolate, his name, wasn't it? Peter Quillen. What does he do now? Because I don't actually know. I've not heard anyone even talk about him, or if he's doing any kind of media stuff. I don't know. Do you know?
I don't know what he's doing. I think he must be happily retired. He's like, when you don't hear from somebody, you think that's good, isn't it? He would have made a lot of money in his career. So hopefully he's happy retired. Wherever you are, Peter, wish you your best.
Yeah. Interviewed him.
The hardest puncher I've ever faced.
Really, yeah.
He hit me in the first round.
There was so much hope for Peter Quillen. He'd done well in his career, but there was so much expectation for Peter Quillen, wasn't there?
The undefeated world champion when I fought him, and he hit me so hard in the first round. I don't remember the fight. I don't remember the 11th. I got up off the stool in the 11th round and said to Adam Booth, "How am I doing? Am I in the fight? Should I go for a knockout?" He said, "You're in the fight. Just keep boxing." I don't remember the fight.
Peter, if you're watching, reach out. Right, just a couple of last things. Joe said the other day, I think this is a bit tongue-in-cheek, the way Joe said it, Usyk's avoided him. What have you made of the whole Usyk situation? Obviously, wanting the extension, the video that's now being looked at apparently, etc. Look, just my opinion is that I don't think Usyk's avoiding. Is he trying to buy a bit of time because he doesn't want to fight right now? Possibly, but what's your take on it?
You can't blame Usyk. He's probably got 2 fights left, probably 1, 2 fights, 3 fights left. He wants the most money he can get, so he wants to explore those options. And no one can blame him for that. He's fought the hard fights. He's been with all the bigger guys. But we would love the opportunity to challenge ourselves against him. And Joe, no one can deny Joe deserves it more than anybody. So another win against Wardley will only cement that position for Joseph, and that's our goal.
But do you not feel like, say, for example, Joseph beats Wardley, which is going to be in, say, 5-6 weeks' time? Then that kind of delays the process to then, you said Usyk might only have 2 fights. There's a possibility, I suppose, he's looking at, is there a trilogy with Tyson, etc. But time's probably running out for Usyk in that time, so does that not further delay that, where it's probably then unlikely that he will, by the time that comes around? I know Frank's saying that the winner of this fight will fight Usyk, but do you not think it's more likely that Joseph will probably end up just still fighting for a vacant title?
It's likely, but knockouts are exciting, aren't they? And if Joe can knock Wardley out, and if Wardley can knock Joe out, one or the other, then there's a more demand for it. The stock grows, the interest grows, and knockouts sell. Joe got a great knockout last time, Fabio got a great knockout, and the winner of this fight, they should just go out for a knockout, you know what I mean? One of them, I'm trying... It
can work the other way, the opponent waiting, Usyk and question might think, fuck that.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's not...
I'm joking.
I don't think there's any fear in Usyk, and he's not running from anybody. He just had a hard fight. He's 38 years old now, and he was never probably going to fight till April anyway. 2 fights a year at that age.
You can't wait around till then.
That's what I'm saying, so this is why we're fighting now.
What can you tell us about Hamza?
We'll know a lot more after this weekend. I think there'll be an announcement soon enough for Hamza. Depending on what Canelo, he wants to fight Canelo. Is that a situation that you would wait for? Say, for example, Canelo does beat Crawford.
in 24 hours, whenever it is that a situation, if you knew that that is pending, you could possibly wait and see how that situation for him to get that Canelo fight?
Yeah, because it's a realistic option that him and Canelo fight each other. Whereas it was not, I'm not sure that it was unrealistic, but there was never really any engagement for Joseph to fight Usyk. So, talking about stock being high, there's no one with higher stock in the world boxing now than Hamza Shiraz coming off that knockout in New York. So, all I know is he'll be in Dublin September 25th, and we're going to start training. And wherever he's fighting Canelo or fighting somebody else, he'll be ready. But great, between Hamza, Joe, Ben, and Paddy, it's a great gym. They're thriving, and what's better is, as good as fighters they are, they're better people, and it's a pleasure to be with them.
Quick one, how do you see that Canelo and Crawford fight playing out?
I probably just favour Canelo because he's bigger, and he'll go down the stretch stronger, you know. But Crawford's competitor, highly skilled. I can't split them. I can't really split them. It's hard to say. No one knows who's going to win. Definitely, no. If anyone says this guy's going to win, they don't really know. They're bluffing. No one knows who's going to win that fight.
It's a mad one about the size, because that's what a lot of people say. The size of Canelo compared to. But you're talking about Terence Crawford, so it's like it's not the same as Jake Paul fighting Gervonta Davis. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not that. Terence Crawford is, I think, it does apply, but at the same time, it doesn't apply of how good Terence Crawford is.
No, and he's filled out. He was at Hamza's fight in New York in July, and you could see the size of him walking around. He's filled out a lot. But the thing is, when they weigh in and they rehydrate, how big is he going to get? How big is Canelo going to get? You know, he's probably not going to get much bigger, and Canelo's going to be a lot bigger. But you look at Crawford, look at the great fighters in history again, like Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns going up and down the weights. Tommy Hearns fought a cruiserweight, won a cruiserweight world title. Sugar Ray Robinson fought for the heavyweight world title. No, won the light heavyweight title. No, he fought for the light heavyweight title. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, nearly won it, didn't win it. But went up and down the weights again. So that's what the greats do, and he's gone to both of them. You know, it's a great fight. It's a pleasure, isn't it? It's great to have it.
Absolutely. Right, Andy Lee, much appreciate your time. Just a quick last question. Our sponsors, That Prize Guy, are giving away 100 grand this week. I know, 100 grand. If you were to win 100 grand on Sunday, generally what would you do? I've had a few people say they'd invest it. Eddie Earns said that he'd go on a yacht for 2 days. I'm building a house, so I'm going to put it into the house. All my finish off the patio.
All these big fights are just sinking into this house. Money pit, yeah.
All right, that's quite sensible. When Hearn went, I'd go on a 2-day yacht cruise or whatever. I was thinking, 2 days, 100 grand, keep me here.
No, I'd put it into the house. That's it. Yeah.
Well, you've still got time to enter this on Sunday, by the way. Andy Lee, much appreciate your time. We look forward to hopefully it's not a rain-soaked Windsor Park on Saturday.
Oh, it is though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the luck. Have you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, get behind Paddy Donovan. He's not an Irish champion. He's going to be a world champion and a champion for the whole world to support. So you're not a guy who's just going to fight for the title and then defend it on. So it's going to be dominant champion for years to come. Get behind him.
Not long to find out. Andy Lee, thank you very much for your time. Top man, I appreciate that.